Blackie, what are you doing? Who is working? You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi to the people? Look, Blackie. First, we put on some medium over the surface. Okay, so this is like oiling out, but I'm using a mixture of Galkid and liquid here, just to make it wet and bring back the color, so I can judge it directly. I have a cold right now, so excuse all the nose blowing. So do it right now because so first we're gonna one tip if you wanna color skin is when you're looking at your reference, just remember that, example, red, there's no such thing as light red. Okay, when you add white to it, immediately becomes pink. So when you see a reddish part on the skin, it's not pink. Okay, you can actually see that underneath the red is some kind of yellow, but in the camera it looks like white, but here in the actual image, in actual painting, it looks a little bit yellow. So there's the yellow color with, and on top of that is the red, so it kind of becomes a little bit reddish yellow. Okay, so that's one tip, so you don't get lost in the mixing of colors and all of that. So it's easier to just refer to your colors, your tube paints based on their original color, and then just look at that as it is, and then look at your reference and see what's underneath, what's above it. So this one is basically burnt sienna painted over a yellow ochre. Okay, yellow ochre mixed with a little bit of white. So it's easier to mix now if you want to get this color, right? Want to paint this color, you just mix the yellow ochre with white and then add the burnt sienna, so we don't get lost. So when you look at your palette, example here, let me show you my palette. This is a watercolor palette. That I converted into an oil paint palette, so I can just close it. There's clove oil there in the middle. So look at this. You're gonna get lost if you don't have a reference on how to, which color to add on which area, right? So you're gonna get lost. So when looking at this, so the color is correcting now. So I have my cat on my lap, so it's kind of hard to use both hands. So sorry. So when we want to get this color, I just have to look for the mix here that has the yellow and the burnt sienna. Okay, so this is obviously a burnt sienna, a lot of burnt sienna with white. So I'm gonna look for the color that's yellow with burnt sienna. Okay, so which one is it? So that's one way to not get lost. This can apply to other surfaces also that you're trying to paint. So let's say you want to paint a tissue like this. So you're seeing there's yellow there, right? And there's green. But how much of yellow and how much of green? Right? Is there white there? So it's easier. Now this one, I want to bring this lighter and this up. So I'm going to need the yellow here. Mix it a little bit of burnt sienna. So could use a warmer or a cooler color, but it doesn't really matter that much. So here I'm gonna apply a little bit, okay, first, and then spread it out. Okay, I think this is how Bouguereau painted. Can you see that? I'm gonna add a little bit. Let's see if I can zoom it. Ooh. I don't know. Sorry. So let's just add a little bit there. Okay. Spread it out a little bit. And then I can now spread it. This way I have control how much paint I have on there. Okay. This can work with Alla Prima also. Just make sure that the colors below your first paint application is thinner than your paint on top. Thinner and a little bit dry. So I'm basically using two brushes. One is for spreading the paint. Okay. Apply lightly like that. So you can control. You don't have to be like the ones we see in movies, where people just use big brushes and paint like crazy. You can do that, but I don't think, unless you're trying to make a show, unless that's the product that you want to make, a video where you're just throwing paint and it turns out amazing. So here I'm just spreading paint. It's okay, you don't have to use too much, so you can control it. Mama Trivik Moki. Moki? Moki. What is Moki? What is Moki? So I hope that helps. Now, if I want to extend the red here, I want to bring it down, I can do that. And again, I just have to figure out what color I added here. So that's burnt sienna again on top of a yellow ochre. But the burnt sienna here, there's a little bit of blue there. So now unless this is a daylight thing, you're painting a photo in daylight, you can always, add blues here as a skylight. It's like how the sky brings color into skin, because any object is actually a reflector of light. You just don't notice it. But here, since this is in a studio, and let's just keep things simple. Okay. I hope the video is clear enough. You can see it. So here, the shadows. I want to add more shadows here. I want to extend the shadows. I could either add just a thin amount of raw umber with red. Maybe I should do that. Let's try that. But I'm not sure if I want to ruin this area here. So let's add the liquid first. Oh. Okay. I can see that. Okay. So instead of shadow, see that's too light, so that's fine. That's fine. Let's just add yellow to it. Spread it out. Maybe we can repair that section there. Okay. Dabbing your brush like this allows you to spread the paint evenly. No. Painting, using brushes and paint relies on the principle of, you know, which area has more paint. For example, your brush has less paint. When you touch it on an area that has more paint, you're gonna pick up paint from there. You're gonna pick up those paint. If your brush has more paint than the surface, the paint will transfer to the surface. So by dabbing like this, I can control where I want the paint to go. Because when I start scrubbing this like this, the movement, I'm just gonna be moving the paint, leaving paint where I start, leaving paint where I end the stroke, and then just ruining everything in the middle. So it's better to just use sometimes dabbing. This will help you a lot in controlling the paint. Now if your surface also is dry, the paint will not move as much. You're gonna stick to that surface, and if you force your brush through it, you're gonna scrape it off. So the balance of how much medium and what you can do with your brush is dependent on like your instinctual knowledge. Sometimes, mostly, it's actually guesswork of how much paint is on the surface, how wet it is compared to what you have in your brush, and how your brush is going to affect the surface. It doesn't look grand when you do this. It doesn't look fun, but when you're the painter, it feels satisfying. Okay. And besides, you don't want your painting to look very smooth like digital. You want texture on there, brush marks. It's going to make the painting look feel more organic. So your brush strokes will also help you define the forms. Example here. If I just go like this, it's gonna look like your skin has lots of, wounds. So look, it's easier to spread the paint. By dabbing it like this, I'm basically picking up paint where there's more of it and just spreading it. I'm having a flu right now, so I apologize. But free time's free time. Now, if you want to make really detailed paintings, you have to expect to spend more time on it. Me, I like detailed paintings. Uh, some people don't. They like the Sargent types. I love that style too, but it's not enough for me. I feel like there's something missing when I do that. And there's this misconception that Sargent painted those in one go and stuff like that. The truth is, he constantly erased while he was doing paintings multiple times until he became so familiar with the subject and have made so many mistakes that he now knows intuitively you can build your image in your mind by doing the same thing over and over again until he was able to create those simplified strokes. But it was not like a single setting and done. He did portraits like multiple sessions. Unlike the way Da Vinci and others did it before him, Da Vinci, I think, used to draw the subject first, right? He draws it with pencil on a separate paper. Then he would design the background, the posture, and stuff like that. Then he would have the sitter sit again and draw the sitter with a drawing, right? And then he would transfer that drawing to the canvas now and start painting. So the sitter would come back, not regularly. He just you would just take the color of the skin and stuff like that, right? But he used the same colors over and over. Never changed his palette. So his palette was similar to this, Da Vinci's palette. Yellow ochre, indigo, uh, burnt umber, vermilion. Used all those same colors. So you know, find the colors that speaks to you, and then explore that palette. If you want to copy photos, that's fine, but I don't know, for me it's not very satisfying to do that. I want to change things. Anyway, enough of that. Thanks for dropping by, guys, coming and going. So I hope. Anyway, I'll just check this video out later if it looks good or not. So that's it, guys. Bye bye.